Well, let's speak now to the Shadow Chief Secretary to the Treasury, Pat McFadden, who joined us on the programme. Ms McFadden, good to see you this morning. I'm just wondering your reaction to, well, in the next handful of hours, at the fact that we will now have a British Asian as Prime Minister.
Well, on a personal level, I think that's a big and historic milestone for the country. The population of the UK has changed a lot over the years, and I think it's important to be generous at moments like this and recognise these historic milestones. So, my differences with Rishi Sunak will be about politics and policy. On a personal level, I do think this is a big, important milestone, the fact that we've got the first British Asian Prime Minister.
So where do you see the problems with a Rishi Sunak premiership? I mean, I'm presuming that the Labour Party, as Lib Dems and indeed the SNP are doing, are still calling for a general election now.
The problem is the Conservative Party. He's the third Prime Minister in 3 months, the fifth Conservative Prime Minister in just 6 years. We've had 4 Chancellors in 4 months. We'll have another cabinet reshuffle today and another round of ministerial chairs being moved around. And the reason you've had so much instability and chaos is because it is a divided and chaotic party. And for a time that just affected our politics, but it's now affecting people in their pockets and it's affecting our international standing. We've seen that in recent weeks with the spike in mortgage rates, the emergency interventions from the Bank of England. And the cost of this isn't over because the new Prime Minister's first act, alongside his Chancellor Jeremy Hunt, who I think he'll probably keep in post, will be to have a fiscal event, as they call it, a statement on Monday, which will be the third in 5 weeks. And the main purpose of that statement, the way it's being billed, is to ask the British people to pay the price for the terrible mistakes made from the mini-budget just 5 weeks ago. So the ongoing cost of chaos and instability in the Tory party is still going to be paid by the public, no matter how many times they change the faces at the top.
But you'll have seen the figures the same as me. The markets have stabilised and he hasn't even become Prime Minister yet. I'm just asking why Rishi Sunak should not be given some form of grace period, a few months at least, to see if he can actually deal with the problems. And if you're talking about a general election, it'll be another 3 months, or the best part of another 2 months at the very least, before there would be a Labour administration in place. So why not just give him the opportunity now to try and sort out the country?
Because I think the longer this goes on, this merry-go-round of changing the Prime Minister, changing the Chancellor every month, and all these changes, the further you get away from the election result in 2019. What is the policy now? Is it going to be the policy of 2019? Is it going to be the policy of
I do remember Gordon Brown in 2007 resisting.
Policy?
Yeah, I do remember Gordon Brown back in 2007 resisting calls for an election. And, the financial situation wasn't brilliant back then either.
Yeah, look, it does happen that a Prime Minister will change during the course of a Parliament. But this is the third time in 3 months. We've not had a situation like that before, nor have we had a situation where we've had 4 Chancellors in 4 months, nor have we had a situation where we had such a self-inflicted wound as that mini-budget a few weeks ago. So I think there are arguments. But look, in the end, the constitutional position about this is that with a big Tory majority, the only way there'll be an election is if the new Prime Minister agrees to one. So much as I'd like to see one, he probably won't have one. And I think that's been the indication over the last 24 hours.
Do you know what, Ms McFadden? I think you might have a point on that one. I do want to just conclude, though, with the way that this battle between the government benches and the opposition benches will be fought as we move forward. We are, everyone assumes, about to enter, austerity 2.0 in political terms. Rishi Sunak will be the face, alongside his Chancellor, of course, but he will be the face of some pretty significant cuts that are going to be made. Do you think that someone who is worth hundreds of millions of pounds can adopt that role?
I don't think his personal wealth has got anything to do with it. I don't really like that kind of politics, as long as the policies are fair. And to pick up on your phrase, austerity 2.0, why is that? No one was talking about public expenditure cuts before the mini-budget of September the 23rd. And what's going to happen now is that the British people are going to be asked to pay the price for the Tories' political and economic mistakes. That's actually why we should have an election. That's why we should have a change of government, because this party, after 12 years in power, is now tired, it's clapped out, it's divided, it doesn't have a plan for the future. So we can have a new Prime Minister today and a new cabinet today, but they do not have any new ideas as to how to take the country forward.
Pat McFadden, great to have you on the programme this morning. Thanks for being with us.